One of the most common questions landlords ask me is, how much rent can I get for my property? The truth is, there isn't one simple answer. The same property can attract different types of tenants, and different tenants are willing to pay different amounts. For example, a group of young professionals sharing a house will often be willing to pay more than a typical family. Since they're splitting the rent, each person's share is relatively affordable. On the other hand, families are usually more budget conscious. There are also tenants who receive housing assistance or government support. In some cases, they're less sensitive to paying slightly higher rent. That's why there isn't a single correct rental price for every property. The first question every landlord should ask is, what type of tenant do I want? If your goal is to attract reliable, high quality tenants who will look after your property, my advice is simple. Present your property well, keep it clean and tidy, and don't price it above the market. When you do that, you have the luxury of choosing the best tenant instead of hoping someone will choose your property. Good tenants usually have plenty of options. They rarely overpay for a rental. Every property has its ideal tenant. Every property has its own characteristics. Some are perfect for families. Some suit young professionals sharing a house. Some are ideal for pet owners. Others appeal more to retirees. The more your marketing matches the type of tenant your property naturally attracts, the easier it will be to rent. Here's another example. If a particular suburb has a large community from a certain cultural background, but you decide you don't want tenants from that group, you're working against the local market. That can make your property much harder to rent. Some homes are beautifully finished and require tenants who will treat them with extra care. Otherwise, maintenance costs can quickly become expensive. Other properties are more robust and can comfortably accommodate a wider range of tenants. If your property is unique and there are very few comparable rentals, pricing becomes even more challenging because there are fewer market references and a smaller pool of potential tenants. First impressions matter. Another point many landlords don't realize is that the first few days of advertising are usually the most important. Many prospective tenants set up instant alerts on websites like Trade Me Property. As soon as a suitable property is listed, they receive a notification immediately. That's why a new listing normally receives the highest level of interest. If you miss that initial wave of attention, inquiries usually continue, but they tend to arrive much more slowly. Can you increase the rent after advertising? This is something landlords need to be very careful about. New Zealand law prohibits rental bidding. In the past, some landlords encouraged applicants to compete by offering higher rents. That practice is no longer allowed and can result in significant penalties. So once your property has been advertised, reducing the asking rent is generally acceptable. However, increasing the advertised rent after receiving interest from applicants may create legal issues. That's why getting the asking rent right from the very beginning is so important. At the moment, Auckland's rental market generally has more available properties than active tenants. That means realistic pricing and presenting your property in excellent condition are more important than ever. When prospective tenants walk in and immediately feel, I'd love to live here, you've already given yourself a huge advantage. If you're planning to rent out your property but unsure what the right asking rent should be, feel free to get in touch with us. We're happy to provide a free rental appraisal and share our professional advice based on the current market. I'm Johnson Zhang. I've been working in residential property management in New Zealand for nearly 30 years. Follow this channel for practical tips and real-world advice to help landlords avoid costly mistakes and become more successful property investors.